Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up on this programme, Teaching the World, International Education in Scartho, and a wheelchair challenge coast to coast. And I'll be talking to Elaine Lennox about a charity fashion show raising money for Parkinson's UK and the Dove House Hospice. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. First of all, it's over to Richard Morris for the news headlines.
Hello there, the timings for this year's inaugural Tour de Yorkshire have been announced. The riders are scheduled to enter our area in Market Weighton by 12:18 on Saturday, May the 2nd, having departed Selby at 11:45. The route then takes in the East Riding villages including Sancton and Walkington before going through Beverley at 12:45. A number of construction companies are encouraging young people to get into the industry. An open day event is taking place this weekend, meaning that young people who might be interested can visit different construction sites across the UK. The sector needs to attract new people if it is to keep up with the pace of building, according to Clugston Construction.
In terms of the UKC prediction is somewhere around about 185,000 new entrants needed to sustain the industry. It is an industry that has quite mature people in there, and obviously as they retire, they need to be replaced. And so the industry has done its sort of calculations, and based on the projected improvements in growth, that's the sort of levels that are being touted around by the UKCG.
Business students from the Grimsby Institute are raising money for two causes. The funds are for Red Nose Day and a neonatal unit at Grimsby Hospital. The event took place in a Crystal Maze style competition with students being charged to enter.
We've got two events going on. This is the first half. The other half, because this is a big group, there's about 19 students. The other half of the group is doing a Red Nose Fun Day, which is at New Carlisle on March the 13th at 7 o'clock. And the money raised is going to be all put together. They're going to put half of it to Comic Relief and the other half is going to the neonatal unit at the hospital. So and the charity is chosen by the students.
And finally, staying on the go is the secret to a long life, according to a Florence Stubbs, who celebrated her 100th birthday with friends. Her birthday was last week, but friends from Deafblind UK's local Look Here group held a party for her off Freeman Street today.
Well, it's been happy and been nice with people and don't be miserable. And
you've been on the go all the time, haven't you?
Oh yes, on the go all the time. I never stop.
That's all from me. Bye for now.
Thanks, Richard. We live in an increasingly global community, but it's easy to forget that growing up in Grimsby, where the population is predominantly white and British. That's why a project has been launched in a Scartho school, giving teachers from countries all over Europe the chance to work together and improve their students' international awareness. The delegation of teachers met at Scartho Junior School this week, where they'll arrange dates for visits to all of the countries involved. James Dunn has gone global.
Flags from all over Europe are flying here today as 19 teachers from 6 nations meet here to discuss the Erasmus project.
It's to enhance the children's education. They're giving them a unique opportunity to learn about the cultures from different countries.
The European Union's provided nearly €250,000 for the scheme, which will teach students more about the lifestyle and customs of their continental cousins. Over the next 2 years, teachers and students will visit each of the 6 nations involved: Spain, Turkey, Romania, Estonia, Poland, and of course, the UK.
We start our program earlier in the morning. We start at 8 o'clock and we end it at about 2 o'clock. And we don't have a lunch break. We have only smaller breaks, 10 minutes breaks after each class.
Okay, the biggest difference actually that I like a lot is that you have this assembly. I have seen 2 assemblies here and I really like those.
We are just the same. We have the same curiosity. We want to learn. We want to discover things. So I think when we are little, it doesn't matter where you are. It's in Europe, in America, in Africa. We are all the same.
Each class has been learning about one of the nations involved, and this week they're enjoying the chance to ask questions about what they've learned. These students were studying Spain.
The capital of Spain is Madrid, and Spain have a tradition where they do food fires.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez.
Hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Me llamo Megan Ichu.
And what does that mean?
Hello, what's your name? My name is Megan, and you?
You're watching Estuary TV News. A little later in this programme, James Dunn will be here to round up the week's agenda in our region's council chambers, and Dan Kemp will bring you all the sports news. Elaine Lennox joins me now with plans for a fashion show, amongst other activities, to raise money for Parkinson's UK and the Dove House Hospice. Elaine, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, this fashion show, it's a vintage fashion show.
Yes.
Where and when is it taking place?
It's at the Village Hotel in Hull. It's on the 12th of March at 7 p.m.
And it's raising money for these two charities, Parkinson's and the Dove House Hospice. Why those two?
Dove House Hospice, my colleague Hayley Jackson, she's been fundraising for the last few months to do the Icelandic trek, which is a 7-day trek to the Ash Cloud volcano. And myself, I've decided to take part in a wing walk for Parkinson's and need to raise some money, so I thought the fashion show would be a good idea.
Well, we'll talk about those two activities a little later, but first of all, the fashion show effectively is raising money to give you an opportunity to do something much bigger and raise even more money.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Various people involved in the fashion show. You and Hayley work for the what is on the letterheads called the Humberside Fire and Rescue Service.
It is, yes.
But what it is a fire brigade.
Yes.
But you're not firefighters yourselves.
No.
And this fashion show and these charity events are not organised by the fire service.
Not at all.
But they do seem to organise quite a lot of people who are involved with the fire service.
Yes.
So what are the people from the fire service going to be doing at the fashion show?
There's a few people that are going to model for us that work for the fire service who have volunteered, and also some of the fire officers and firefighters have offered to escort the models down the catwalk on the night wearing vintage clothing.
Vintage firemen's uniforms?
I don't think so, no.
No, okay. And you've got various different types of clothes on display. These are, who's designed the clothes?
We've got Poor Boy Vintage, who are going to be doing a catwalk, together with Charlie Ryan Boutique, where she does more individual, more contemporary things of her own. And we've also got Dove House number 87, which is the vintage shop on Newland Avenue that's going to supply most of the clothes for the event.
And there's some contribution from students?
Yes, Hull College fashion students are also going to put on 3 catwalks on the evening as well to show off their examples.
And what's the appeal of vintage fashions?
Vintage, it's very popular at the moment. I think it's a more homely and more interesting fashion. That's all I can say on that, really.
Well, is it not the case, forgive me, I'm a bit old-fashioned myself, but is it not the case that the fashions people wore 50 or even 100 years ago are just much smarter? There's an awful lot of period drama on television at the moment.
That's correct.
And it's very nice having servants in Downton Abbey and all that sort of thing, but what I'm really jealous of is the suits.
Yes.
They look so fantastic, don't they?
Yes, very tailored, very fitted.
And proper fabric as well, none of this
Yes.
sort of thin, shiny stuff that like this.
Yes,
that
exactly.
we tend to wear nowadays.
Mm.
The fashion show will be raising money for these two particular charities. I did ask, but I don't think you quite told me why those particular charities. Is there a connection particularly that you want Parkinson's and the hospice?
In the case of Hayley, she's had some personal experience, and Dove House has helped her and her family, and that is why she's supporting them and giving something back to them. With myself, it was purely the chance to achieve a lifetime ambition of wing walking.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. For the fashion show, though, anybody can turn up?
Yes, that's correct.
And just remind me the date and the place again.
It's the 12th of March, it's at the Village Hotel, and it's at 7 p.m.
Elaine, thank you very much. Good luck with that. Please don't go away. I want to talk about wing walking in a moment.
Thank you.
The Coast to Coast Challenge is attempted by many able-bodied people, but how hard must it be in an electric wheelchair? That's exactly what Debbie North is attempting in a wheelchair made in Lincolnshire. Dave Nunn, I beg your pardon, reports.
The Coast to Coast Challenge is a gruelling challenge for most people. For former hill walker Debbie, it'll be an even tougher challenge, since she'll be covering the 193 miles in a terrain hopper.
I came across this because I saw an interview with Sam on the TV, Sam and his wife, and they were actually on Look North about the award that they had won for the design of this wheelchair. And I contacted them and told them what I was about, wanting to get more access for disabled people out into the countryside, and they welcomed me down and took me out on a test drive. We went onto the beach at Cleethorpes, and I just love the machine.
The terrain hopper is a 4x4 buggy designed for disabled people with a range of disabilities, like Debbie's chronic degeneration of her spine. The Coast to Coast will be a proper test of the terrain hopper, which is built and sold from Manby in Lincolnshire. It also reflects the reason the terrain hopper was designed in the first place by Sam and Debbie.
Well, it's made to go off-road, because many wheelchairs and scooters, they will just take people on like pavements, and some can get down, others can't, some can get up, others can't. And so we designed something that can really give people freedom to go off-road. So this will take them up the valleys, down the valleys, over the rocks, through streams, take them on the beach, through the snow, and just give people the freedom that they had when they was able to walk, perhaps.
Debbie loves the feeling of freedom the terrain hopper gives her and wants to share the experience. The main reason she's doing the Coast to Coast Challenge.
If you've got the right kit, you can get across into the countryside. But also, then we were contacted by Calvert Kielder, which is an outdoor pursuit centre, helping disabled people reach their full potential through outdoor pursuits, and they would like one. So it's grown from there. We're going to raise the money to buy one of these, and then it will go up to Northumberland for them to use it with other disabled people.
Elaine Lennox is still with me, talking about raising money for Parkinson's UK and the Dove House Hospice in Hull. Elaine, just before we move on from the fashion show, the vintage fashion show that's coming up, remind me, who's comparing that for you?
It's Luke Adams from Estuary TV.
The most elegant man in the east of England.
That's correct.
Excellent. Now, you're going to be raising money by doing something astonishingly dangerous and daring.
Yes, I'm going to do wing walking, which is a bit unusual, but I'm really looking forward to it.
It's an old, it sort of goes back to the American barnstorming flying circuses, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
So what does it involve? You're not actually walking up and down the wings, I take it?
No, you are secured safely to the wing, and the plane takes off with you on the wing.
And you're strapped down on top of, I happen to know the details of the aeroplane. It's a Boeing Steeman biplane. So it looks like, I think we have a photograph, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it looks a little bit like a sort of a First World War fighter.
It does, yes,
like that.
yeah.
You're crazy. Aren't you? It seems an astonishingly dangerous thing to do. Aren't you a little bit frightened?
I'll be nervous on the day, but having done abseiling off the Humber Bridge, that secured me of heights, and I love flying, so to do it in a different way would be great.
A lot of people would raise money by doing something perhaps a little more simple, like a parachute jump.
No, I'd rather be tied to a plane than jump out of one. I would not do that.
When does the wing walk take place?
It's on the 25th of April at airfield, Brayton Airfield near Selby.
Right.
And there's going to be two planes and a total of 38 people taking part. 38 people wing walking.
Good
yes.
Lord. Okay,
yes.
So you'll only be up for about 5-10 minutes, something like that?
Hopefully, yes.
How can people contribute to this?
I have a site on Virgin Just Giving for the wing walk, and Hayley also has for her Dove House as well.
Well, I want to talk about Hayley's. Your colleague Hayley is doing something, I think, a little bit more civilised, or at least, or maybe it's not, maybe much more dangerous. What's she going to be doing?
She's going to be doing a 7-day trek to the ash cloud volcano in Iceland, which is something of a feat because you have to be extremely fit to do it. So she's taking part in that in May.
This is the volcano that infamously stopped all the air traffic in May 2015.
That's correct, yes.
I remember I was abroad at the time and I couldn't come home.
Yes.
I'm going to have an attempt at pronouncing the name of the volcano. Would you like to go first?
No.
That word there? No?
No.
Okay, I'm going to give it a go, and frankly I should be given money for this as well. It's Ijaf Jaf Jalalal Jokul, infamously known as the ash cloud volcano. My apologies to any Icelandic speakers. That's quite a trek, isn't it? A 7-day trek to go up a volcano. That takes a certain amount of, if not quite the daring of standing on top of a flying aeroplane, it takes a certain amount of stamina.
I would say so, yes.
Is she going into training for this?
Yes, she is, yes. She's been training over the last few months and we'll build it up as the time gets closer. So.
And how can people contribute to her cause as well? She's raising that money for the hospice.
Yes, she's also on available on the Iceland Everyday Hero.com, so you can contribute through that.
Elaine, good luck with all your endeavours. Just quickly remind us, when is the Vintage Fashion Show and where?
It's on Thursday the 12th of March at 7 p.m. at the Village Hotel in Hull.
Elaine, thank you very much, and those sound like splendid endeavours. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Time now to hear What You Say. This week we tried to understand the word scratting.
Oh, you got me there. Oh, I can't think. Oh, stop scratching. It's like say you, yeah, could be scratching your head or something like that, or.
Scratching.
Stop scratching? No.
No. Is it scratching or digging? Scratching the ground.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know.
Scratching, itching.
Stops itching, so you start scratching. Itching.
Yeah.
Stops fussing around. Scratching, you can be cleaning too much.
Yeah.
Scratching about.
Yeah.
I'm joined now by James Dunn to talk about the agenda for this week's council meetings. James.
Hello, Hugh. So, as ever, it's my highlight of my week where I can actually discuss some of the things going on in the local council chambers. So, I picked out a couple of things, mostly based around young people, actually. The reason I've chosen to do that is because obviously we've got an election coming up, and you know, one of the things people are trying to do is to engage young people. So I'm going to discuss some of the things. I mean, the most interesting one I personally think is one that's coming up in North East Lincolnshire Council. That's on the 5th of March, 4 p.m, and this is the scrutiny panel of the children and young people. And what they're actually discussing is exclusions, amongst other things. But I wanted to pick out exclusions because if children are badly behaved, as we used to call it expulsions, I think.
Yes, we did.
So now they're excluded, they have permanent and temporary exclusions. Now, actually a permanent exclusion for a town as a whole is kind of a problem. Because once you remove a child from mainstream education, and I'm not a teacher so I speak with limited authority, then it can be very difficult to get them onto the right track, even if they are then going to pupil referral units, which are something that councils have to run for children who have been excluded permanently from schools and can't get into others. So it's actually quite a long-term problem, which can cost a lot of money in the long run. Um, In 2010, North East Lincolnshire discovered that it had an unusually high number of exclusions. That was something like 61 permanent exclusions in the 2011 to 2012 year, which I think you probably agree.
It's a very high number, yes.
Yeah, it's a hugely high number.
A lot of naughty people in the schools of North East Lincolnshire.
Yeah, no, I mean, that has gone down, which is good to hear, but according to this report that they're going to be receiving, is actually going up again. So it says during the autumn term, the authority had 15 permanent exclusions, 2 in the primary phase, which in itself I find astonishing.
The
little
kids, yes, exactly.
I mean, I can't imagine being so naughty when I was 10 that would happen.
What does the council propose?
Well, they're really just receiving this report. Now, they have already done a lot of work because although it's although it's rising, is very much down on the 2010 to 2011 levels. You know, it's risen this year on the previous term. So they've got something called the Behaviour and Attendance Collaborative. That's where they work with children, and the schools actually meet on a regular basis to sort of share good practice, which is one of the ways they've managed to combat this, because it is such an expensive problem to deal with.
Right.
And I mean, the problem is, I don't really know. This report doesn't really suggest exactly what it is they are going to do, but it's very important that they do something, because, as I said,
it's one of those impossible problems, of course, isn't it, that the council has to face one way or another, doesn't it? James, we'll have to stop there. Thank you very much for coming in. Fascinating story. Now, here's the sport with Dan Kemp.
Hull City failed to take their chance to widen the gap between themselves and the relegation zone, drawing 1-1 with Sunderland last night. Manager Steve Bruce and Gus Poyet were involved in one of the game's biggest talking points after the Sunderland boss was sent to the stands for kicking an ice bucket before a verbal altercation with Bruce, which led the City boss needing to be restrained. On the field, Darman Doy scored his third in as many starts before Jack Rodwell equalised in the second half. Elsewhere, Scunthorpe United drew 2 apiece in Fleetwood. Gary McSheffrey and George Evans scored to bring the Iron from behind twice to gain a point over their playoff-chasing rivals. In Rugby Union, Hull Ionians have returned to the top of National League 2 North and are back on course for promotion. Saturday saw the side play their game in hand over Ampthill District against the league's bottom club, Stockport. Sam Wilson again hit the headlines with 2 tries for Eyes in the 24-19 victory. Alex Campbell opened the scoring and Alex Torkington went over with this try to seal the win. The Hull Stingrays are in Elite League action tonight at the Nottingham Panthers. The side went down to 2 defeats at the weekend before saving face with an overtime win against the Dundee Stars. Face-off this evening is at 7:30. North Ferriby United's goalkeeping hero hasn't thought about the chance to impress individually on the Wembley stage, instead focusing on trying to take his side to trophy glory. Adam Nicklin saved the first of 2 Bath City penalties in the semi-final on Saturday to give the villagers the impetus to progress.
Never played there, so it's a first thing for me, but yeah, just really excited. Can't wait to get there and get my boots on.
And don't forget, Adam and the rest of his teammates are back in league action tonight at Oxford City. Kick-off in that one is 7:45, and that's all for the sport.
That's all we have time for today, I'm afraid. If you have a story for us, please go to our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details on the screen. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 31553. That's everything for today. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary's weather. It's going to be mild with some bright or sunny spells in the east on Thursday, but thicker cloud may give the odd spot of rain or drizzle in the west. Maximum temperature 10 degrees. It's going to be windy and rather cloudy on Friday with some patchy rain in the west.